Chapter 119, Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Having reached the Dawn State, the volume of Zhang Yuoquan's Qi Lake once again increased. For each realm that was achieved, the Qi Lake was expanded to 10 times its size. However, this time, the Qi Lake expanded nearly 20 times its size. Although it was only twice as much, the increase should not be underestimated. When it came to battling with true martial arts masters, a little advantage could be all the difference between victory and defeat. Half holy water is really amazing. Not only does it increase my body of martial arts, it can also enlarge the size of my Qi Lake. Having achieved a new cultivation, Zhang Yuoquan felt very happy. With the help of 10 drops of half-holy water, Zhang Yuoquan was confident that he could reach the medium state of the Black Realm before the quarterly assessment. Absorbing the half-holy water to increase cultivation was actually secondary in purpose. The most important aspect of half-holy water was its ability to strengthen the body of martial arts. With the help of half-holy water, Zhang Yuoquan's physical quality increased, his meridians widened, and he was able to burst out with more power. On reaching the dawn state of the Black Realm, it's possible to use animal spirits fixing beasts. I wonder what blood beast's illusory image I will be able to conjure. Zhang Yuoquan walked out of the time and space spinal and went into the training room. Animal spirits fixing beasts. Zhang Yuoquan stood at the center of the training room, following the circulation of genuine qi through his meridians. Threads of spiritual blood seeped out of his pores and enveloped his body. The sound of dragons and elephants roaring emanated from the spiritual blood. A 7-meter-tall illusory image of an elephant formed behind Zhang Yuoquan. Its legs were as thick as trees, its trunk was like a long spear, and its body was full of strength. There was also a shadowy, 7-clawed dragon curled up on the back of the elephant. The dragon snapped its jaws and waved its claws, its head towering far above, and a great pair of dragon eyes flashed with purple lightning. Although the image of the dragon and elephant were very light, they emitted a very strong and powerful aura, as if they had brought Zhang Yuoquan back to the reckless waste. Unbelievable, it's a dragon and elephant shadow. It's even stronger than the thunder dragon in my last life. Zhang Yuoquan drew the spiritual power back into his body, and the illusory image of the dragon and elephant also gradually disappeared. Now I will test my current speed. The training room was too small, so Zhang Yuoquan went to the courtyard in Dragon Martial Temple to test it. Walking out of Earth number 1, he stood in front of his door and circulated his genuine qi into his legs. With a whoosh, Zhang Yuoquan moved like the wind, leaving behind only a shadow. A moment later, Zhang Yuoquan reached the other end of the courtyard and slowed down his footsteps. His face was full of delight as he said, "Without the power of the blood, I can already reach 50 meters per second. If I use the power of the blood and create the dragon and elephant image, I should be able to achieve 52 meters per second. For normal warriors, they could reach up to 36 meters per second while in the dawn state of the Black Realm, 40 meters per second in the medium state, 44 meters per second in the final state, and 48 meters per second in the completion. Students of the Martial Market School were a lot stronger than other warriors in the same realm as them. Even the weakest of the students at the school could reach 50 meters per second, when they reached the completion of the Black Realm. Zhang Yuoquan was only in the dawn state and could reach 52 meters per second. His speed was comparable to some of the students on the Western campus who had reached the completion of the Black Realm. Given my current ability, I am confident I could defeat a warrior in the completion of the Black Realm. Zhang Yuoquan clenched his fists. He could clearly feel his ability increasing. In the ultimate realm of the Black Realm, one can reach 81 meters per second. At my level, I can reach 70 meters per second when I reach the completion of the Black Realm. But I will definitely not be able to reach 81 meters per second. Zhang Yuoquan was not satisfied. Although 70 meters per second was faster than some warriors of the Earth realm, he wanted to reach the ultimate realm of the Black Realm. Only if he achieved the best possible in each realm would he have expansive room for growth in the future. I must practice a high-class, speed-related martial technique. It will improve my chances of reaching the ultimate realm. Zhang Yuoquan searched his memory, and quickly chose a superior class spiritual stage speed-related martial technique. It was called the Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon. The Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon was already the lowest class of speed-related martial techniques that he could remember, and it was perfect for him to practice right now. At his current cultivation, to complete the practice of a low-class spiritual stage martial technique would take 2 to 3 months. A mid-class spiritual stage martial technique would take about a year to complete practicing, and a superior class spiritual stage technique would take 5 years at least. It was because his spiritual power was so strong that he was able to practice so fast. Otherwise, if it were a normal warrior in the dawn state of the Black Realm, they would need at least a year to practice a low-class spiritual stage martial technique, 10 years for a mid-class, and at least 60 years for a superior class. The higher the realm of martial arts, the quicker it was to practice the martial techniques. Stronger spiritual power also sped up the practice of martial techniques. Zhang Yuochen did not expect to fully complete the Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon in a short time. He only wanted to partially complete it first. Even partial completion would greatly increase Zhang Yuochen's speed, like a Royal Wind Dragon. The Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon only had a total of 9 paces, and each pace had 9 changes for a total of 81 changes. When rushing during travel, one only needed to use the 9 paces of Royal Wind. Once it was practiced to the small success, every 9 steps would take you more than 2 kilometers. If one used the 81 changes when fighting against an enemy, the enemy would not be able to defend against it. They would only be able to see a shadow and be unable to touch one's body. It was also Zhang Yuochen's first time to practice the Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon, so he could only fumble along. At the very beginning, he was only able to follow the 9 simplest steps. After walking those dozens of times, he began to increase his speed. As he moved faster and faster, Zhang Yuochen's legs looked as if they had changed into shadows. Dozens of legs appeared to be walking on the ground. Far away, Huang Yanshan and Duan Muxingling sat on a tower. They watched Zhang Yuochen practicing in the courtyard. He seems to be practicing a high-level body skill. It's at least a low-class spiritual stage body martial technique, Duan Muxingling said. Huang Yanshan rested her chin on her pale finger and said, "Body martial techniques have always been rare. I'm currently practicing a superior class human stage body martial technique. The Western campus does have one low-class spiritual stage body martial technique called the Jingang Thunder Step. Pity that it's not suitable for women to practice. In the Palace of 1,000 Waters, there are 2 low-class spiritual stage body martial techniques, but both have flaws and are not suitable for me to practice. It looks like I'll have to wait until going to the internal school to find spiritual stage body martial techniques that are suitable for me." Duan Muxingling's eyes held a strange glitter. She stared at Zhang Yuochen, who was currently practicing his paces, and said, "How about we have junior apprentice brother teach us? A low-class spiritual stage body martial technique is very precious. It would cost at least 2 million silver coins to purchase. Even in the martial school, it would cost 1,000 merits to borrow." Huang Yanshan said coldly. "Do you think that he will teach us?" Duan Muxingling touched her space jade bracelet, smiled, and said, "Brother Zhang has never been a stingy person." "He isn't stingy towards you," Huang Yanshan said in ill humor. Duan Muxingling said, "We should at least try, right? Besides, I found the body martial technique he is practicing is rather special. It doesn't seem as limiting as other body martial techniques, so maybe it will be very suitable for us to practice." "Sister Chen, if we miss this opportunity, it will be very difficult to find another suitable body martial technique." "Okay." Huang Yanshan was somewhat convinced. If the body martial technique Zhang Yuochen was practicing really did suit her, she was willing to pay a high price to obtain it. Huang Yanshan and Duan Muxingling were like 2 stunning otherworldly beings, with their clothing floating about them and their figures poised. They floated down from the tower and walked toward Zhang Yuochen. Seeing them approach, Zhang Yuochen stopped practicing. "Junior apprentice brother, what high-level martial technique are you practicing?" Duan Muxingling fluttered her beautiful eyes and asked curiously. Zhang Yuochen smiled and said, It isn't any high-level martial technique. It is only a speed-related martial technique. If senior sister apprentices wish to learn, I can teach you. Juan Muxingling and Huang Yanchen met each other's eyes. Originally, they had been a bit awkward and unsure of how to ask. They did not expect that Zhang Yuochen would be a step ahead of them and be able to see their purpose. Huang Yanchen's face was cold. I won't learn for nothing. I will pay you however much you want in merits or silver coins. Zhang Yuochen stared at Huang Yanchen's beautiful face and smiled leisurely. I'm afraid to say, I don't think Sister Huang can afford this martial technique. Of course, Zhang Yuochen saw their purpose. He offered to teach them for free mostly because Huang Yanchen had previously saved his life by striking out in time to kill Hulian. Revenge had to be taken, and kindness also had to be returned. Hearing what Zhang Yuochen had said, Huang Yanchen's eyes went cold. Who do you think can't afford it? Today, I will buy it for sure. Zhang Yuochen lightly shook his head and did not speak. The worst superior class spiritual stage martial technique would sell for 8 million silver coins, never mind something like the Shadow of the Royal Wind Dragon. Furthermore, it was the best of the superior class spiritual stage martial techniques. On the market, it would at least sell for 30 million silver coins, or even more. Even if Huang Yanchen was the commandery prince of the Cayenne Yui commandery, she would not be able to pay 30 million silver coins. If she sold herself, she might be able to make the price. At least, the Cayenne Yui commandery prince would definitely buy her back. Zhang Yuochen, what is that expression? You dare to look down on me? Huang Yanchen stared with wide eyes, and ground her teeth. She did not look favorably upon Zhang Yuochen. I didn't mean to look down on Sister Huang. Everything I said is true. If you want to learn, it's best to be modest and not overly arrogant. If you insist on buying this speed-related martial technique, then I will lower the price for you. 10 million silver coins, nothing less, Zhang Yuochen said very seriously. N.A.